Welcome to the Bucketlist Project podcast, a weekly show that talks about stories from my pursuit of nomadic lifestyle around the world, interviews with interesting people who I have met in this journey, and a generous dose of thought provoking conversations around travel as a lifestyle choice. If you love to listen on topics revolving around travel, then this will be your perfect companion for the ride to office, your morning jog, or in general when you are winding down for the day. This is 2024, a new year, a new beginning. So we are coming back fresh after a break at the end of December 2023. So we will have again new episodes releasing every Friday. So do share and subscribe to our podcast and get your weekly share of travel inspiration. Uh, Picture this view out of the car window. The sun is bleeding gold over a crimson desert for, Instagrammable sunsets or a constellation etched in midnight starry skies, making you feel like a tiny speck. You know, Welcome to the world of an overlander, somebody who embarks on a self reliant overland travel adventure, typically in a rugged, off road capable vehicle, and often camping in that same van along the entire journey. It's more than just a vacation, actually. It's a lifestyle focused on exploration, independence, and connecting with nature, most importantly. There are some fascinating pop culture references that capture the essence of this adventurous lifestyle. You have had the Motorcycle Diaries, Into the Wild, and if you go a little apocalyptic, even Mad Max Fury. Back in India, Swadesh pops up as an example when we talk about caravan life specifically. Even the world famous Burning Man has very strong connect with overlanding. While seemingly worlds apart, they both the festival and a caravan life, they share a surprising connection in their embrace of adventure, self-discovery, and challenging the societal norms. While one thrives in a temporary city built on radical self-expression, the the other seeks freedom in the boundless landscapes beyond the pavement. While all this sounds romantic, it the overlanding or a caravan life quickly gets too real when you decide to go down this path. It'll challenge your grit, resilience, adaptability in ways you cannot imagine. The unknowns can be very overwhelming. You will have to embrace minimalism, and more importantly, you will have to hone your survival skills. Today, in our podcast, we are actually going to be talking about this, and very specifically, one very, very interesting Indian couple who've been leading a caravan life or overlanding for the last 3 years, and it started as a honeymoon trip for them. Imagine that. And they've been doing it for the last 3 years across 15 countries, right from Canada all the way to the tip of Patagonia in South America. They choose to do everything unconventionally. They build their own caravan ground up, convert two dogs into overlanders, pick one of the longest routes for their first ever journey, the Pan American Highway. I'm very eager to unravel their life story of many challenges overcome, the connections made, and the transformative experience they carry with them long after the engine cools down. I'm Srinath Shankar, your host, a Party Scuba instructor, co-founder of Pick Your Trail, India's fastest growing leisure travel brand, a digital nomad, and a slow travel proponent. In today's episode, we have Kartik and Smriti, the brown van life couple who are famously known in Instagram, and parents of Bali and Everest, their two dogs, who are accompanying them in this journey. Hello, guys. Welcome to the show. I'm quite excited to have you guys on this podcast episode. New year, new beginning. So, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you. This is our first podcast of 2024, so we're
Yeah, we are
excited.
equally
Oh,
excited.
super lovely. So maybe let's start with the introductions, shall we? I've seen the Instagram, highlight reel of how you guys met or the entire story, but would love for you guys to kind of make the introductions, including your two dogs, lovely dogs.
Oh, yeah, sure. So my name is Smriti, and
I'm Kartik.
we are from India, but we immigrated to Canada for our higher education, and that's where we met in Toronto while we were working through Kartik's brother. And then immediately we had a connection over travels. We 3 months into meeting each other, we took a random road trip and realized that we have this connection over road trips. And a few years later, I pitched the idea of Pan American Highway to Karthik, and that was that. He became obsessed with the idea, and yeah,
Yeah, and our dogs Bali and Everest. We got Everest since the beginning of van life. I mean, he was kind of instrumental to this entire journey. Also, we knew we wanted to get a dog as soon as we got a van because it comes as a package.
yeah, it was a package plan for us. We were like, we get the van, we get the dog, we do this
Yeah,
together.
and then Bali just came into our life in Colombia 1 year ago.
Yeah,
So we were traveling with two dogs, and we wouldn't do it any other way.
yeah, it's the best.
Oh, super, super. Interestingly, you call this not a road trip, but a van life. And obviously, our Insta handle says the brown van life. So, just curious to understand, is that just a accidental connotation, or is there any meaning to it? Like you want to break stereotypes, where overlanding, it actually is a Western concept, so to speak. Is there any genesis to this name or interesting story?
Yes, we definitely have the brown for two purposes. It is for the color of the van, which is brown, and the other is us. You do not see brown people on this overlanding, at least the Pan American route. We haven't come across a single
Yeah.
overlander, overlanding like solo or couple or anyone who's from South Asia or who's brown. It's purely Europeans, Americans, retired people. So there is a huge lack of desis or brown folks doing this journey. So the brown van life is to represent
Mm-hmm.
that. But the way it came to us was very, very spontaneous. We were just literally in the parking lot packing up to leave, and all our friends had come in Toronto to say bye to us. And I was still struggling. I was like, okay, like literally that day, I was like, oh my God, I have to start this Instagram account to document our journey so all our friends can see it. It was never intended to be like a public account. It was more like, okay, I'll post everything on this account, so all our friends can follow. And then my friend was standing there. She's like, you should just make the name like Brown Van Life. And she was saying because the van is brown, and I thought, oh my God, because we are brown, right?
Yeah.
And then it just like it just worked out the timing of that, and we instantly created that username. And I'm so glad we did it because it has such a bigger impact than just the color of the
Yeah.
van.
And I was going to add that the reason why we don't call this a road trip is because, I mean, van life, it's more of a lifestyle for us than a road trip. Like,
Yeah.
we don't see it as a definite start or an end. We just see it as a lifestyle, so we call it the van life. This is our current lifestyle right now. We live in a van, and
Yeah.
that's how we want to lead our life at this point.
Like we're not chasing numbers in terms of countries or the road trips, so it's for sure.
The
Right now, it's just a
lifestyle.
lifestyle. It is.
Young couples, they dream of building houses together, but you guys built a camper van together. Very, very different story, so to speak. And which technically is your home right now. So, some similarity also. Why don't you talk a bit about, the journey of how did you come about with the design, the vision, building it, and who assumed what kind of roles? Because I am assuming that both of you had zero experience doing this before, or zero technical background or educational background also. So would love to hear that story, like how did the brown van come into existence?
Again, it was very spontaneous. We saw this van parked in a farm, and I don't know why, but it sounds so dramatic, but I saw this and I was like, because that year 2018 was the year we were actually looking into camper vans, but all the camper vans were like sprinters or these trucks that were way over our budget. And then we were just going camping one day, and on the way we saw this van, and I told Kartik, I told him literally, I was like, Kartik, this is going to be this is going to take us to our adventure. This is our adventure mobile. Trust me. I don't know why. I just felt it in my gut very
Like
strongly,
uh,
and
love
and
at first sight.
yeah, pretty much love at
Love at
first sight. It's
first
just
sight,
so
yeah.
it's so unique. I mean, if you look at this van, it's so unique. It's so vintage, and like
Yeah.
we could not survive the 2 days of camping. We were like, we met the owner. He said it's not even in a driving condition. It was just a metal shell, and we were like, okay, maybe not. This is not for us. It'll take so much work, so many years to fix this. So then we went camping.
Yeah. Then we couldn't do anything
Yeah, and
but think about the van. So
like
like
2 days,
I send him money instantly,
we hiked
even
to get
without
network,
yeah, we hiked to a network spot, send him money instantly without even like
trying
really
it.
seeing much to
We
it.
didn't do a test drive also before we
No,
bought
and
it.
then we told him to not sell it, keep it holding, and we'll come back and see it again after the camping trip. And when we went back, we just sealed the deal and we're like, we'll go pick it up the next week. We'll bring a tow truck. We towed it out with the tow truck, and we brought it back home.
That's
Nice.
how it happened to us, and I think we were very realistic with the fact that this is a vintage van, so we will be learning a lot, and we will be struggling a lot. So we went in with that mindset. Okay, this time to teach ourselves, and thanks to YouTube and thanks to internet,
And we had some friends who were like
like
professional carpenters and contractors, so they really helped out
Ah,
also.
yeah,
okay.
they gave us some tips
Yeah.
here and there also, and then we just started trial and error. A lot of things were mistakes in the
Yeah.
beginning. We made a lot of mistakes. We didn't know how to screw things or cut 90-degree angles in the wood, and a lot of mistakes were made in the beginning, but it was just like, okay, ye kharab ho gaya, we'll try it again. There's no pressure. We didn't put any pressure of perfection on ourselves because we are no professionals, but we did everything: plumbing, electrical, the carpentry work, the mechanical works in the beginning.
Yeah, very quickly we realized that we probably would not achieve that Instagram worthy interiors that you see on Instagram. And we realized that we're going to do something realistic that we're going to build ourselves and be proud of.
Yeah.
So that's what we went for. And I think it was a great summer. And I mean, I'll
Yeah.
always remember that summer. We just, every single day, morning to evening, we just built a van.
How long was it?
We spent March to August, almost March,
Yeah, like
April,
4
May,
months
June, July, August.
every day.
5-6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
5-6 months every day, 10 hours a day. We were just working in the van.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like literally, we would just bring our laptops.
This was your full-time job.
Full-time with the full-time job. So we'll bring our laptops in this van. We'll be surrounded by tools and wood panels, and Everest would be sitting in all those tools, in the middle of tools. And we didn't have a garage, so we built everything in a parking lot of a Home Depot, random parking lot. And then by the time we finished building, like the employees of the Home Depot were like checking on us constantly
Yeah.
how much progress we have made. They were so invested in this. But towards the end, in August, we realized that, okay, we're not going to reach a finish line anytime soon. So we just built a bed, somewhat functional kitchen, and we left. We left with like 2 boxes of tools, bunch of plywood, bunch of solar panel bhi nahi tha tab, no solar panels, no water pump, nothing. We just kind of just left because we were like, okay, if we chase this perfection, we'll be here for one more year. So we left with a half-built van.
Yeah, it's a long process. I mean, I guess the moral of the story is that we didn't really wait for the ideal van or the perfect interiors to
Yeah.
start the journey. We started it with what we could buy at that point and what we
We could
found
achieve, yeah.
the most fun to start a journey like this with, and then we built whatever we could, and we kept improvising on the road. So just don't wait till everything is in place to start something. That's never going to happen. You just got to kickstart.
Uh,
That's very true.
Great. You've given some idea in terms of how long it took, what kind of effort it took. Can you also, for audience, give some rough ballpark in terms of what it will kind of cost to build, a camper van like you guys did?
It's very different. I think in India, the labor cost is so cheap. I think the material is cheaper also. We built it in Canada.
Yeah.
I would say just like the wooden panels and the electricals, the water pump, water storage containers, the fridge, the initial setup would have cost us 10,000.
Probably, yeah.
ten thousand
Probably around
dollars.
$10,000, yeah.
The initial
Yeah.
basic setup cost us 10,000,
Mm-hmm.
and then we over the years we've spent like maybe
Mm,
3,000 to rebuild the engine, and then body work was 2,000 to $3,000.
maybe
So
like another like
5,000.
10 to 10
Yeah.
$10,000, I think, over the 3 years of the travel to just make improvements and
So
just
twenty
keep it
thousand dollars
sustaining,
we have spent on
Yeah.
this for sure.
But I mean, there's cheaper ways to do it too, definitely, and there's more expensive ways to do it also. Like
Yeah,
camper vans can be
$1 million
such
at
a
this point.
wide
Yeah.
range. We just wanted to invest in the best.
And somebody has to buy off the shelf. If somebody wanting to buy off the
Oof.
shelf.
Off the shelf,
Off the shelf, definitely you're looking for something
fifty
at least
thousand
fifty
plus.
thousand dollars. Yeah,
$50,000 plus.
off the shelf meaning like from like a dealership or like somebody secondhand. You can find secondhand ones for like 25 $30,000 also. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
minimum 20,000 is, I would say.
ready to go minimum brand new van with interiors and everything, you can get it for $50,000.
Yeah, like a modern one, modernish. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Hmm. You just mentioned in the beginning of this podcast that you guys went to Canada for your higher education and all of that. And it's also an interesting choice that you guys made to, start from Canada and go all the way down south to South America. So just curious to know, like, why did you choose this route? And also, like, what kind of mental preparation you had to do when you chose this route, especially when you have a van, it's humans to dogs, overlanding across 15 countries. Like, how did you take and you saying that this is the first overlanding long trip that you were taking, directly taking the most difficult choice and doing it with,
The longest
yeah,
road in the
longest road in the world with maximum complications, not just transporting two humans but also two dogs. Like, what went in your mind? How sane were you when you're thinking, or how insane were you when you're thinking this?
I think we wanted to live a very nomadic life that was very clear, and the vision was to we will have a motorhome and we'll travel the world in it. And then from world we started to like see, okay, what would be a good itinerary to start with. And because Pan American Highway starts from Alaska, and mainly a lot of people started from Canada, so we're like, okay, we're already in Canada. Then we read up on a bunch of articles where people have done the Pan American Highway and the culture it crosses and people it crosses. And Latin America in general, for some reason, felt like a familiar space because the culture and the people are very similar to like our brown folks. They are not that different. So there was that sense of similarity when we were trying to achieve, like, get into this. It didn't feel that alien to us. It felt very exciting, and we did a lot of reading of different people who've done this journey, watched a lot of videos of people who have documented this journey, and it just sounded so phenomenal to go from like Chiapas in Mexico to like the volcanoes in Guatemala to
Patagonia here, yeah.
Patagonia to Machu Picchu. Like, just the diversity of this route, the things we could have seen was just, it was sheer excitement
Yeah.
that this road has everything we can possibly think of: landscape, culture, people, food, festivals, Dias de Muerte in Mexico to Sun Festival in Cusco. Like, the range was so huge that we thought, like, in a route like route to Europe and stuff, you would not be able to find that kind of range in terms of the sheer diversity. So we just got super super hyped about it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
And
did
then
not.
I think also I don't know, I'm thinking about it now. Maybe it didn't occur to us to start in Europe or some other place because we would have to ship the van right
And
in
the
the
dogs,
beginning.
yeah.
And then I think we thought that we'll
Let's
s- we'll have time to figure out the whole shipping process
Ah, yeah.
once we get to Panama. So that's a long way away. So why not start traveling now?
yeah,
I think that was maybe
that's true. That
in
was
the
also
back
a
of our mind.
contributing
Yeah.
factor.
No, I was just saying that this route, there are certain parts which is very unsafe also, right? So that didn't scare you guys?
Not really, no, because I don't know, for some reason fear was not a feeling that we ever had when we started this journey. We were never scared about anything.
No, I think we just we knew that we didn't have like the flashiest van,
Yeah.
right? That also helped to, and then we're also like we look a little Latino also, so that also helped. People thought that we're Brazilians
Yeah, a
in a
lot of
lot of
time
places,
people thought we were Brazilians, and
and then I mean we were already traveling quite a bit before doing this long travel, so I guess our mind and horizon has expanded in terms of that, and we're a little adventurous, and kind of we just want to believe that everybody's a nice person. Like more,
yeah,
there are more nice people than bad people out there.
I don't
So
think we function with that thought process at all. We're just not that kind of people. And Everest helps, you know. Everest is a great guard dog, so we knew agar kuch bhi nahi hoga, if nothing happens, you know, Everest will attack anybody who will come close to the van. We knew that, and that's been happening. Like now we have two guard dogs, and they, like, we can sleep peacefully at night in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
And my dogs are the best guard dogs. They will alert us in microseconds. They bark so
Yeah.
loud that we nobody stands a chance.
And we also always talk to locals to
Yeah.
see, to like get gauge if it's safe or not, and if a local says it's not safe, then yeah, we'll probably try to avoid it.
Kind of makes sense. So you guys obviously went to Canada for higher studies. You mentioned, so that means that you're at an established base in Canada before you could even start this. So that gives you access to certain things. So just curious to know if an Indian has to come from India, start this journey that you guys started, is it going to be any different for them, or they can also have a similar journey, like in terms of paperwork, in terms of access to buying stuff, like how does that work?
I think they can have an absolutely similar journey, because we did everything up until Peru with the Indian passport. The only thing that worked in our favor was our American tourist visa. So that kind of removes almost like 12 countries for visa on arrival for you. So that's a big things off your list. Buying process is very simple, and then uh, the import permit for the vehicle. We have met two desi boys who have done this journey on their motorbikes. So they bought the motorbike in South America, and then they drove it the Pan American Highway. So you can do that. What you would do if you're from India, you would just basically either fly to Canada or fly to Chile. All these people who are finishing Pan American Highway, they're selling their cars. Like they want to get rid of their camper vans. They don't
Yeah.
want to ship.
Chile is a good place to
Chile is a
buy
great place to
camper
buy
vans.
camper vans, and then you just buy it here, and then import permit you're given on the border, visas you're given on the border, then you just navigate your life like a regular.
And it's the process is very well established in Chile and Canada to
Ah,
like transfer the ownership and stuff. So
okay.
it's not like
It's
it's
not
not
compli-
shady or complex.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty simple and straightforward. And you know they're travelers, so they must have maintained the car well also
Yeah.
if they made it this far. So I think it's very doable. Yeah, we see a lot of travelers doing it. They come here and look for cars.
They just arrive here and buy the car here.
Yeah.
Hmm. And crossing borders, like the paperwork, is it like very intimidating, or like can you just throw some light, especially in terms of paperwork? Visa is one part of it. The other parts of it is like crossing the border on a vehicle is a very different experience because it involves a lot of paperwork, right? So just outline in terms of what is that paperwork and how does that even operate?
So I'll tell you what a typical border crossing day looks like. You will first exit the country, get exit stamps on your passport. Then you go cancel that import permit of your car from that country. You have to go to the same immigration office. He will cancel your import permit. Then you go to the office of the entering country, say for example in our case Argentina. Then in Argentina, you'll get entrance visas, one stamp each. Then they will issue you another import permit for the new country, which can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 1 hour. And for that, you only need your car registration paper and your driver's license and your passport. Nothing else you need. No insurance, nothing. A lot of countries don't even ask for insurance. You can buy it once you get that import permit, right?
Yeah, certain countries have mandatory insurance, so they make you buy it right there. But they make it easy for you.
Buy
You don't
it.
have to go search for an agent or anything. You can buy it right there at the counter.
Yeah.
And a lot of the countries on this Pan American journey, is insurance is not mandatory. It's on you if you want to go buy it externally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
We
probably
bought
not the
it.
best advice, but
Yeah.
we bought it in some countries, and some countries we didn't because we just knew that even if something happens,
The insurance is not going to do
insurance is not
anything.
going to do anything. We have to deal with it
The claimant, yeah.
outside, right? So yeah.
And what is the kind of cost involved with respect to all of these import?
Import permit doesn't cost anything,
It's
right?
free of cost.
Yeah.
Oh,
Import
surprising.
permits are free. Some countries have like maybe a $15 fees or $5, very minimal.
Yeah, or a deposit which you get back. Like Mexico has a deposit which you will get back when you cancel your import permit.
Yeah, it's Mexico has a $2 to $100
Deposit, yeah.
deposit they give you back, and Colombia had a import permit fee. I think that was the most expensive one, right? $15 or
Honestly, I
$50.
can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was like either free or like under $10.
Yeah, it was very cheap.
Yeah. The very fact that you can't remember means that it's insignificant.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it's
insignificant.
insignificant,
And then we have to do the
Yeah.
dog work. So there's always a agriculture department at every border. We take the vet documents that were issued to us in the exiting country. Every country you exit, you go to the vet, get the latest document saying my dog is vaccinated to these diseases, and then you take it to the agriculture department, and then they let you enter the country. So
And all of these are at the border itself, or you'll have to run around.
no. So in Central America, they were not organized. I'll be honest. Central America, our border crossings were very hectic. Like they would take us a whole day because the offices were all over the place. So you go cancel your permit here. You issue the new permit here. You buy this here. So it was, you
I mean, it's all in one like area, but like you're walking around multiple buildings.
yeah. So it would take us a full day. But since Latin America, like since South America, it has been very streamlined. They're
Organized.
literally counter number 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just cross them and you follow all the steps, and it's done within like 2 hours.
Less than that, yeah. Yeah, so to answer your question, yeah, it's intimidating in the beginning, but you just know the process at the back of your head after like two countries.
2 countries, yeah.
And you just go through with it.
But I'm assuming because this is a very well traversed route and a lot of people crossing over the border, this might seem very organized. But is it the case when, let's say, for example, you're doing from Asia to Europe, or you're going via Southeast Asia? Because I've heard like Southeast Asia is like extremely difficult to do all of this.
Yeah, we have heard the same from all the research we have done, because Pan American Highway is like very streamlined, 15 countries. People go up and down all the time. There's a lot of land traffic of international people. Europe is very streamlined, but yes, Southeast Asia, if you want to do the stance, it is less streamlined, but still people can get the visas and all the paperwork done in few hours within the same day and get going. I've never heard of anyone struggling more than a day at the border. Usually people finish it off within a day and enter.
Even with the vehicle paperwork, visa is straightforward. Obviously, that's not much of an issue now, especially Southeast Asia. But the vehicle paperwork, do you think that is easy?
Some countries are in advance, yes. Like I know some countries, there are a handful of countries that are more complicated than others. We are still doing a research, but I know like uh, Myanmar and like I think it was Cambodia, some other countries where you have to do some paperwork and police clearance in advance, and just hang around for 3-4 days. So there are a few countries that are complicated, but nothing like too drastic that I've heard of. Except Iran can get really complicated. They give you their own local local license plates and
Okay.
stuff. So they put a new license plate on top of your license plate because they don't want an international car to be driving in the country. China gives you a guide that has to be stuck with you for the whole duration. Like there's a human being with you the whole time. So there are these countries that can get
I've
complicated.
heard
Yeah.
that.
So that's an exciting chapter will be unfolding at
Okay.
some point.
And if you had to give a quick roadmap, I know that you guys have been doing it for 3.5 years, but somebody starting today, if they want to do it for 3 months, they want to do for 6 months, 1 year, which would be the best parts you would recommend of this highway to them? If it's like 3 months, 6 months, and a longer period. I know I'm putting you on a difficult spot, but
For 3 months, 3 months, the Argentinian Chile
Yeah.
section is like perfect because like it's very streamlined. The border crossing, you're not gonna waste days just crossing in and out of the borders, and there's lots to do here
Yeah.
in like 3 months. Like, I mean, the distance is huge, but the roads are amazing that you can cover a lot of distance.
yeah.
Right, the roads I have not seen like this anywhere else.
Yeah.
The roads are simply the best we've come across here.
Yeah, that is true.
6 months, you can probably start in US and
And US
cross
and
into
Canada.
Mexico,
US to it's like
or
Canada to
US and
Mexico.
Canada. Yeah,
US, Canada, Mexico. You should do 6 months.
yeah, you can do that
That's a
easily.
great itinerary. But
Yeah.
anything else, if you want to get into Central America or if you want to start from Colombia, you need a minimum 1 year. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'll be too rushed and you won't be able to see things because these countries are huge and there's so much to drive. Their driving distance is a lot. You won't get to see a lot. So,
Yeah, we've met travelers who've done 1 month per country, and they've done all 15 countries. But then that still takes you to like almost a year and a half.
year and a half, even if you do
Yeah,
1 month a
and
country.
that's like really fast for a lot of people to travel through.
Okay, great. Um, some idea around the entire economics of this lifestyle. How much does it cost you on a monthly basis? Because you have fuel to budget for. There are so many things that you have to budget for, right? Including paperwork and fees. So a rough idea in terms of how much does a lifestyle like this cost?
Cost. I would say like if we average out, and we've talked to a lot of travelers about this also, on average you're looking at around $100 per day for two people.
Yeah.
It's a slightly more for us because we have two dogs also,
And we have a more gas
and
guzzling car.
our car is not the most fuel efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But $100 a day is like very doable, and this is not like budgeting too much by eating in every single day. You can still go out to have food, you can enjoy all the sceneries, etc. Like you can pay for the tourist attractions because some countries are drastically cheaper and some countries are like drastically expensive. So it's hard to say which months are going to be really cost effective and which months are going to be expensive. But if you average out, I would say it's very realistic to say $100 a day for this kind
Including
of
your
lifestyle.
fuel and
Yeah,
food
this
and-
means everything: fuel, internet, phone, food,
everything.
etc., etc., etc. Like tourist attractions, you can average it out to be 100 a day. Campsite fees.
Yeah, of course, like countries like Chile, suddenly you're traveling Latin America, everything is cheap, and you come Chile, everything is rocket high prices. Or if you're in Costa Rica, things will get really, really expensive out of nowhere. Mexico is affordable, then US and Canada are very expensive.
Yeah,
So
and then sometimes you have months where like you're doing like the whole shipping process, which can be expensive. Sometimes your van just keeps breaking, so you have mechanic costs to deal with. So yeah, it varies a lot, I would say.
yeah, but keeping $100 a day
Budget
for two
is
people is a
realistic,
good
yeah.
good budget.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. And given that you've been doing this long term, a quick overview on you guys have a remote job. Like, how do you manage to fund this? You working and doing this, or you just taking a break and doing this? How does that look like?
Yeah, so we have been working. We are both freelance consultants in our
Okay.
respective fields. I'm an IT consultant. and we don't work for anybody specifically. We work for ourselves, and we manage to get clients along the way, which is also long-term projects. And then
The thing is, we started working remote since 2018. We didn't start right like start a remote job and jump straight into travel because we wanted to figure out how sustainable remote life will be for us. So we kind of lucked out in that sense, got it in 2018, and then when we were confident, okay, you know what, even if we switch to a traveling nomadic life, we can still sustain our existing contracts or our existing clients, and we can navigate this workflow. That's when we were like confident, okay, we've done this for a few years now, we can do it from anywhere. So
Ah,
that I would
okay.
suggest doing that, yeah.
Okay. Now that you're working and doing this, how does your routine look like? Because you need to set aside time for work. Also, you have to drive from point A to point B. How do you manage all of that?
Yeah, it is a lot of like your day just gets consumed very fast in all dividing all these things: work, travel, dogs, border crossing, distance cover, photography, um like
seeing
seeing
things.
things. It literally, we don't realize when our day starts, when it ends. And we just have a routine now at this point where we've set boundaries and priorities. It's not that like rigid, but we know that, okay, mornings are for work. We will get all our client calls and meetings out of the way. Then few things are priority: walking the dogs twice, morning and evening. We have to take them out for hikes. Then cooking food is a big one for us. And because it's a camper van, cooking food, cleaning up, packing up everything back, it's a 1 hour process minimum. And because we cook Indian food, so that needs like
Yeah.
at least 1 hour food for us. And we make sure we eat
Yeah.
Indian food every single day, at least one meal, because that keeps you sane. It just keeps you grounded. You have your ghar ka khana. It makes you feel really good.
I can absolutely relate to that. While trying local food is great,
No,
but if you don't have your comfort
yeah.
food, long term it
Yeah,
doesn't
then you
look
start losing
very
your
exciting.
center. Then you start like, okay, I'm missing something. So the food is a big element for us. So yeah, we prioritize eating one meal in the van, walking the dogs twice, work in the morning. And we have few rules around how much we want to drive in a day. We never try to drive more than 3 hours a day. Never, like, because we know anything more than that in this van will feel exhausting, because it's a vintage van. The engine is in the front, and it gets noisy sometimes. So we do not push that limit, and we do not drive past 6 7 p.m. So those are the rules we kind of follow, and we keep the day very free flowing. um, Anything else but for a routine?
No, I mean, I guess the biggest advantage we have with work is that we don't really have a set schedule. Like, I can easily jump in at like late night and do work
Yeah, we have
and
more
finish my
deliverables.
deliverables
Yeah.
for the next day and just disappear for the entire day if I have to, if I'm traveling, right? That's kind of the flexibility we have with work, which really helps, where you don't have to be sucked into the laptop during the day for the full day, um, expecting to answer emails and
Yeah, the
calls and
availability is
stuff.
not
Yeah.
needed all the time. That's one good thing with our work.
Yeah, being your own boss also helps that way. I'm assuming because you can define your work and define the way that you want to work also. But do you miss or professionally, do you think there are certain disadvantages that are there being on the move and doing your work, or you feel as productive as you would working from a single place?
We feel more productive, to be honest. because at work environment, I think both of us experience less productivity. There's a lot of time and energy consumed in meetings and small talks and processes. And I feel like this freelance structure, people, we are given a task, we deliver it, we are more efficient. And
Also, like they're they're billing, like we're billing on the hours, so
yeah,
they're not wasting our time and we're not wasting their time,
yeah.
right? So it's
Okay.
it's definitely more efficient. Disadvantages, I guess, like there's
Promotions.
no promotions, there's no really job security per se. Like if the project gets cut, we're cut. We could be cut the next day also. So that's there. But I mean, we know that that's a risk that we
We
have,
signed up for,
and
yeah.
that's really the only way to kind of sustain long-term travel. You have to either save up a chunk of money, like a lot of travelers do, or work on the road, which a lot of travelers do also.
Okay, interesting. And the next question that I wanted to ask, now that I saw one of your dogs also in the background, is like, what made you sign up to do this with Everest and Bali? Because one and two, I mean, that's a huge decision to make. Like, what made you guys sign up for that?
I don't know. I always knew that we will do this, like this long term travel with a dog. First of all, I think it's good to have that. It's an extra companion because it's just two people living in a box constantly, right?
Yeah.
So the dog is a third, almost the third person. Your focus can get diverted to that, and you can have different sort of engagement and you know different connection with the dog. So it's like a this um, third or fourth, in our case, fourth person holding us together, and it gives us such a good routine. We knew that we'll be traveling all the time, so that something we need some sort of routine, and we knew a dog would bring a routine and structure to our day. And safety was a big one also, like, cause Central America and a lot of places, we knew that okay, having a dog might work in our favor, um, just for safety perspective.
Yeah, and it's a great icebreaker also. I mean,
Yeah.
locals always approach us because of these dogs,
Yeah, we
and
make a
we're
lot of
always
friends. Yeah.
making friends on the road because of dogs. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, we're definitely like you have to be a dog person to do this journey with dogs. If you're not, it can get very tiring
Exhausting.
and
Yeah.
exhausting. But you say you're a morning bird, right? And I don't know if you have dogs, but we're morning birds by
But
by force of nature of these dogs. Like we're just woken up.
we are not morning people, but we wake up every single day
Yeah,
6:30 a.m. because our dogs wake us up by 6:30 a.m.
yeah, and I guess that's good. It gives us like a start
Right.
without an alarm.
No. Yeah. And I can imagine, starting from Canada with your dog, you've already had that relationship with that dog and you feel familiar. On the way, taking that decision of adding plus one, I definitely need to know that story.
Oh my god, Bali was so spontaneous. We just found out this shelter in Colombia that had a baby, and we were like talking to someone. They said they have a puppy left. Would you like to see this puppy? It's looking for a home, and the mother is not there. It's just a puppy, and we're like, I don't know if we can manage another dog. And then somehow Karthik just like texted this lady and got the information of the dog, and he felt committed. He's like, no, but I've asked about this dog now. This dog is expecting us to show up. What if nobody picks us up? It's our responsibility. So like a lot of emotional blackmail, that no, we've asked about her. What, like, she's our responsibility now. We didn't even see her. And then we are like, you know what? A lot of guilt tripping happened, that we asked about her and nobody's gonna get her. She'll be abandoned. And we are like, okay, you know what? We have to get her home. So we got her, and she's been a handful. I'll be honest. She's very different from our first dog. Absolute Colombian crazy girl, and but we love her. She brings a lot of joy and activity in our life. So it's been good. Everest has got a companion. We can leave them together in the van for long hours now. Earlier, we would never leave Everest more than 1 hour alone in the van, if we were to go grocery shopping or go to a museum where he's not allowed. But now with Bali, we can leave him alone in the van for a few more hours if we are going for a few more hours without them somewhere.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the reasons.
Okay, nice. And how sane are they? Hyperactive, very calm dogs. Like, how are they? How is their personality?
Oh my god.
Everest is very chill and calm. Bali is absolute opposite end of the spectrum.
Everest is very well behaved. We say yes, we say sit, he sits. We say stop, he stops. Bali, she is a free, independent girl. She doesn't listen to
You
us.
know the term Lokita, right?
Lokita, it means crazy. She's a Lokita.
Everybody calls her Lokita.
She's jumping all day, eating all day. So with her, since we've gone, we have to do multiple walks a day, play sessions, and constantly engaging her with toys. Like right now, we're playing tug with her with one hand to keep her calm during this podcast. Look like she's literally just playing this toy non-stop. Yeah, so
Crazy,
they're
crazy.
crazy. She's a crazy one.
Nice. It's so interesting that the timing of this podcast, and then we have a Shah Rukh Khan movie also releasing. While obviously that's a very different story, and you guys are doing all this with clean paperwork and doing it legally.
Yeah.
Still, are there any crazy border stories that you've had that you can kind of share, or crazy, or funny, or scary, whatever?
Oh, by the way, you talk about Shah Rukh Khan. I want to tell you that the first time the thought of van life ever came into my head was when I saw Swades, and I saw him rolling into his village with that shiny camper van. I was like, oh my god, imagine if I can travel in my home and it'll be like this. I can sleep anywhere I want. I remember very, very clearly that was my first dream of like when I envisioned this life for myself.
Yeah.
And in terms of
The idea was seeded there.
yeah, the idea was seated there. Crazy border crossings.
I think the craziest was Mexico, right?
Oh my god, yeah, Mexico was very hectic. Mexico, what happened? So I don't know if you know, but Mexico, when you enter Baja, Mexico from mainland US, nobody checks anything. You can just drive in. They didn't even check our passport. They just waved at us. They were like, "Go, go." So we are very confused. And
This is our first
this is our first border
Latin
crossing,
border
like
crossing.
Latin crossing. So we are confused, and we're like, okay, don't you have to give a stamp or something to validate that we have entered Mexico? They are like, no, 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 just go, 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 and they just rushed us. And the way the highway is designed, you can come in from one side and go exit from like 1 kilometer away, and there's no like or otherwise you're driving in one-way traffic. And at one point when we enter, we realize that hey, we actually need this stamp to get to mainland Mexico, because once we arrive in mainland Mexico, they're going to look for the stamp. And it was a disaster because we could not figure out how to get back in the line to enter Mexico and get that stamp, because it's only one-way traffic. And that at one point we were driving in opposite side of the highway, in running traffic. All the cars were driving towards us, and we're like, we have no choice, we have to do this because we need the stamp. So we're driving in a highway in the opposite direction of the whole traffic, and we could not do it. It became too scary. All the cars were honking at us. And in general, when we entered Mexico, we just had huge culture shock, because Mexicali border is like a most underdeveloped and very unorganized, chaotic, and we have just come from US and Canada. So that was our first culture shock also. And that day we both are like, what are we doing with our life? Why are we doing this? That was one of the most hectic border crossing. And we still didn't get the document, and we got so fed up we left the border without getting the document. And then
Yeah.
we figured it out 3 months later somehow, with a lot of jugaad.
Crazy. And that sounds very intimidating.
No,
Your
that was
first
very scary.
big border crossing, and the first step itself, you have so many hurdles.
And between
It'll
US and
give you
Mexico.
existential questions.
Yeah, and between US and Mexico, where there's
It'll
already
give you
so much tension
existential
there.
questions. Yeah. Yeah. I understand. And like very quickly, top 3 moments in your life in this entire road journey, if you had to like quickly, run through your memories and talk about it.
That's a
What are
good
your
question.
top 3 highlights?
Top 3 highlights.
Wow, top 3 highlights. Jesus, of course, reaching Ushuaia. Reaching Ushuaia is like the biggest highlight. The finale moment of the Pan American journey is like
Very
a
emotional.
massive highlight. What's your second one?
I don't know. I think I was very overwhelmed in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Antarctica was very like I think I cried a bunch of times just looking at the glacier, the icebergs and penguins, and I'm like, what is life? We are actually seeing penguins. That was emotional, and I think the erupting volcano in Guatemala. We we hiked to Volcan Fuego and camped right in front of it, and the whole night. That is one of the moments when I visualize it comes in my head, 100% picture perfect.
Yeah.
That erupting volcano in front of us all night, and that ground under us shaking and thundering, and vibration of the volcano eruption under our feet, and that roaring sound of eruption all night makes you feel so like nothing. You're like you're nothing. This volcano can erupt and you'll die. Mother nature is so strong. You just get this intense respect for earth, that how powerful your planet is you know so I think that was a very vivid memory. Apart from that, we've had such beautiful stories of people helping us. That is what we keep going back to. you know a family in Nicaragua that hosted us, Mexican family that went above and beyond to take care of us when we were sick and we had some accidents in Mexico. The families in Colombia that have just invited us, we've stayed with them. Family that gave us keys to their house. They were like, just live in my house till you figure shit out. So just a lot of kind people. So those are the stories.
And yeah, I think this forms the base of why you want to do this also, right? All the experiences. So, talking about future, how does 24 look like for you guys?
24 is about figuring it out. Figuring out what we're doing next. I'm not sure actually. We're coming to India. That's what we know. That's the only plan that's set in stone
Yeah.
right now.
We have never planned our life more than 3 months in advance. So
Yeah.
right now in March we are coming to India to spend Holi and spend time with family after ending Pan American Highway, and then next is to figure out what will be a base and where we are buying this next camper van.
Planting future seeds for next adventure.
Yeah.
That's what 24 will be for.
Okay. So your Pan American, this thing is going to come to an end by March, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then we want to come back and maybe do Brazil
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 months. But actual Pan American Highway technically ends in
Okay.
Ushuaia. We'll just be traveling South America at that point,
Yeah.
but the Pan American Highway ends in Ushuaia.
Mm-hmm. And like, how long do you intend to follow this lifestyle? Is there a timeline that you have to this? Do you want to come back and live like normal human beings, or this is your new life?
This is our normal. I think we will continue being normal in this version of our life and see the world till we are absolutely fed up of seeing the world.
Okay, so like your future looks very similar to this, is what you're saying. Like if you guys want to be doing this for 2 years, 3 years, for forever, you feel very comfortable with that thought.
Yes.
We definitely do, yeah.
Yeah.
I think any other thought makes us more uncomfortable.
Going back to that normal life you're talking about is what makes us uncomfortable.
Nice. And like, what does your family think about all of that? They've given you a free chit on this aspect, or there are always nudges coming your way saying that, hey, what are you doing? Existential questions passed on to you.
Indian parents. Indian parents. They stay calm for a bit, then they come back with their questions, and then we calm them down, then they come back. So
Cycle.
it's a cycle.
But they're definitely like much more like understanding and accepting of our life choices now. I mean,
I think
for
they've
the past
seen.
few years, I mean,
Yeah,
they've seen a
they've
lot.
seen that we have survived this.
Yeah.
We are very happy in our life. We are constantly video calling them, showing them new places and how excited we are for every little thing. And we have not compromised on our career or financially struggled at all. So these things, that's all end of the day they need, that we are safe. And that we have been safe for the 3.5 years. We've not experienced anything bad. So they do have a faith on us in that sense, that they don't have to worry about us even if we take on a big adventure.
Nice. That's very comforting. And in fact, while thinking about your journey, one of the biggest flex I could think of is that you guys could travel during COVID because of this particular lifestyle. How big COVID has been in terms of pushing you into this journey, or you think that irrespective of COVID, this was going to happen?
You know, now that we look back, 2020 was the year. 2020 we got married, and we knew once we get married we'll move into the van and start our married life will start in the van. We knew that. And then plan was to finish the van and start the Pan American Highway. But once COVID hit, that's when we realized that there is no tomorrow. We can't just keep pushing our dreams. We can't be like, okay, we'll take 6 more months to build this van. That's why we left with the unfinished van, because the future looked like it wasn't there. We didn't know what the future looked like, and there was this urgency to achieve our dreams in the moment. And I think that really pushed us, right? In a way, like COVID really helped us make this happen.
Yeah, we're like real believers of doing something immediately rather
Yeah.
than waiting for the perfect moment to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better to action something right away if you have the feeling to do it.
And
And that's, I mean, we've learned that over and over again, that it's better to just go for it.
yeah, and COVID really pushed that feeling into us, because it literally felt like everything was going to end. So we're like, you know what? Let's not wait. Let's just finish this and let's start right now. If it wasn't for COVID, I think we would have worked 6 more years on the van, 6 more months on the van, right?
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. Or the winter, or the Canadian winter.
Yeah. When you just said 6 more years, I was wondering
Six
what are you
more.
making a
Rocket
rocket
ship,
ship? Nice, lovely. It's been a very, very interesting conversation, especially a sneak peek into this lifestyle. I've had people who've done, who've spoken about backpacking, who've spoken about multiple other things in our podcast. But this is a very, very different, somebody living in a van 24 bar 7 and picking that as a lifestyle is very interesting perspective. And in fact, for me, there are very good insights that I could pick. And I think the way that we are traveling, maybe sometime we would also experiment this kind of travel. So I will definitely exchange notes with you, because I also love South America as a country. I feel it's like so dramatic. That's the right way to put it. So definitely, I know somebody who's done it, so a lot of homework is saved for me, and I can just exchange notes, especially on that Antarctica trip that you guys did. That also is something that I'll exchange notes on, because in my mind it's always been the most expensive trip to go on. I didn't know such hacks exist, so that also is a good takeaway for me. But yeah, overall a great conversation. Thanks a lot. I wish you guys absolute best in terms of experience.
Yeah, no, same with us. Like, we want to live stationary for a long while, and then we will love to take some notes from you on living in Indonesia, because we really would like to explore that.
Super lovely, and have a great trip back to India. And I'm assuming after a very long time you're meeting your folks, friends and family. So I hope you have a great time there as well. So I know that you guys are very big in terms of celebrating festivals. So you're gonna have a blast with Holi, I assume.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
love
yeah, yeah.
festivals.
We're excited for that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a great time with parents.
Super, super. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
for
Thank you
having
so much.
us.
That's such a exciting and fun conversation to have.
Thank you, Srinath.
This wraps up the episode of the Bucketlist Project podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode and listening to Kartik and Smriti. Do you think overlanding is something you would want to give a shot? Well, I hope this podcast has given you a fair amount of details in terms of how to go about taking this decision with a lot of clarity. If you liked what you listened to, then do subscribe to our podcast, which is available both in Spotify and Apple. So, see you next week, and until then, have a great time.